She took the impossible goal. She took 1,090 days, and she said, I have absolutely no clue how to get there. Right?
But not having a clue how to get there, doesn't that mean she knew for sure what she was doing could not get her there?
Precisely. She knew her current path and her current system was obsolete. Right? And so she then had a choice. Keep the dead end path, even though it's well trodden and she knows it well, or let go of that path for a better path, for different leverage.
And oftentimes you don't even get to find the better path until you let go of the lesser path.
That's when it gets spicy. I'll say that's not always the case, but that's often the case.
Right.
Often you have to raise the floor and let go of the lesser path so that you reach a level of commitment that you can go and filter and find the path and the people that will get you there. Often that's the case, and back to the idea that most people never actually get to the right focus because they're still on the clear path to the lesser goal. So they never let it go enough and to get above the floor so that they can then go and find that path or that partner or that opportunity or that life. So with her, what happened, and there's a concept I really now, this is the beautiful part about writing a book, is you then see what could have and should have been in there. So I'll explain that in a second. So by simply moving the goal up, before we were talking about move the timeline forward. Now we're saying keep the same timeline. In her case, 90 days. We're just going to 10x the goal because now we have to look at different pathways to get there, right? So 2 different ways to make your goal seemingly impossible is one, just take the goal and make it much bigger, or take the timeline and make it much shorter. Again, we're using this goal or a frame to look at the present and then to begin being honest about the dead ends and to begin filtering and finding better paths or better leverage.
Could you do both?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Increase the goal and shorten the timeline.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And one question people often ask is, at a certain point, does it just become too impossible? Yeah. Like, at a certain point, it stops being a good tool, right? If she said, I want to get 1,000 in 2 hours, that might force some creative thinking, but it might be just... So, at a certain point, the bounds become... it stops being an effective tool, right? Mm-hmm. You want to be a powerful tool, a power tool. The future is a power tool for shaping the present. So what happened for her, and I want to explain levels of analysis. Levels of analysis is a really powerful concept in psychology, but I'll just explain it. So she thought about, how do I get to 1,000 in 90 days? She knew she couldn't go directly to the companies, the 50,000 credit report companies. She couldn't go directly to them, but she wanted 1,000 of those 50 companies using her software in 90 days. So she had to think, how do I get there? How do I get there? How do I reach 1,000 or thousands of these companies in that short of a time? It can't be me cold calling them. So what are other ways? So she was thinking of pathways. And this is when real pathways thinking kicks in, is when you're thinking from the goal and you're thinking from a goal you don't know how to solve. You always want to think from a goal, never toward it. Because if you're thinking toward it, you're taking the present and trying to shape you always want to think from the goal. And it should be a goal you don't know how to reach, because then that's going to force you to think about pathways you don't have. Does that make sense? I see this.
It makes 1,000%.
I see this, man.
Sense.
So pathways thinking only becomes effective. Pathways thinking is what it's called in psychology. You could also call it strategy. But this is why John Doerr, by the way, John Doerr is a billionaire venture capitalist. He said a goal properly set is halfway reached. And the reason for that is that a goal properly set is halfway reached because it allows you to start stripping out the dead ends that won't work and saves you decades.